Hi everyone, welcome to this new Gamersyde Live. Tonight we are going to show you Narcosis, a game that I'm going to discover with you guys, but as you may have seen briefly reviewed just a few hours ago and actually quite like it. And tonight it's live a bit special because we have one of the game developers with us. He worked on a level design. His name is Damien Drevaux. Yes, he's French. Yeah. And he's going to explain all this, and as usual, Driftwood is going to do the playing, but this time maybe not all the talking.
So yeah, Damien, please introduce yourself, and then I'll say hi.
Well, hello everyone. So yes, I'm Damien Drevaux. I'm the game level designer for Narcosis, which is a survival horror game for PC and Xbox One, which can also be played on virtual reality. On the premise is that we are underwater. We are trapped in our ADS, atmospheric diving suite, and we try to survive.
Yes, and we're deep underwater because it's more than 3.5 kilometers under the surface, and yeah, you're gonna feel pretty lonely playing Narcosis, because it's not like Soma, where you had someone to chat with sometimes. Well, I'm going to show you the very beginning. You can see that there are different chapters, 14, and well, if you haven't checked out our videos, that's one way to actually see the premises of the story, and then we'll try to explain why I liked it, because I did like it, it's true, and what Damien can tell us.
No problem. Just it begins with that with that training, which serves as a tutorial.
Yeah, it was a very good idea, especially the transition. Whoa. Okay, what's going on?
No,
okay?
I think Damien is moving a window, and please don't do that.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah, you can do pretty much anything. So you can mess up everything. So yeah, that's the pool where we start, and you can check your oxygen level, and this is the suit it's very VR in the way that VR is done now, where you can see the helmet and everything.
Otherwise, you're off.
But unless I'm wrong, I mean the idea was not to make a VR game originally.
No, well, the whole idea from the very beginning was to make a game where you are in when you are in a helmet, and the HUD isn't displayed at all time in the screen. Mm-hmm. You have actually to look at it in order to see where you are. So that was the very beginning of the premise of the game, because it was a student project. It was our student project when we were at our school, the Engine.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, the big things was Amnesia. Amnesia was a big inspiration for us, but not too much for the content, which is more inspired by stuff like catastrophe movies or stuff like that. But the whole idea of having an horror game in first person. Sorry, but the sound is very high.
Yeah, the sound is very loud, and that's the problem, because it's probably not very loud for the people watching.
Oh, okay.
But for us,
it's just for us basically.
Yeah.
It's not perfect setup, but it's better than having a stream with 30 seconds late and no sound, I would say.
Yeah.
So I probably asked Blim to turn the volume up, just so that people can enjoy the sound design, because it's very good. At least in my opinion, it's very good. I mean, voice acting also is very solid.
Let me know when you want me to turn.
Yeah, I will tell you. But I can understand that for Damien, it's kind of difficult to concentrate on what you're trying to say when you have all that ambient sound and noise. just so
it's a little strange. It's like I'm in the Tempest myself, trying to talk about Narcosis. But yeah, so yeah, that was the first inspiration. Well, we had because we play a lot of horror game ourselves. Like I'm a big fan of the Project Zero or Fatal Frame kind of game.
Oh, yeah, the more Japanese type of horror.
Yes, Silent Hill was a big inspiration for the way we show some horror stuff. But there was also Alan Wake at the same time, which at the very beginning the light had a very much important role in the game. Like we already had some puzzle, okay, there is these creatures, you will have to attract it on the side, and then you will have to turn on that switch. And stuff like that. We really tried to do something with that, with the light in general, but it didn't work too well. It was very hard to make something which can be understood by the player when it's so dark, because it's dark most of the time. So yeah, this is why we still have some trace left of that mechanic, but not too much today.
Okay, so I was wondering because when you play, you'll see that the spider crabs are kind of pains in the ass because they can actually kill you instantly, and that's something that Blim probably wouldn't like very much because he doesn't like the pressure. Of the risk of dying, and I thought that I'm going to show how the flare works, but I first thought that maybe that I could lure them away using the flare. Never could do that. So basically,
there is some reaction from creatures.
Yeah, they react to the flare, but they don't like chase it, or they don't run away because they.
There are some creatures which will chase it. I don't know if you tried with the squid.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
But you can avoid a lot of battle with that, which is always useful.
Yeah, it is.
And but yes, spider, it was more difficult to do. It would be too easy,
Sure.
So yeah, for the pressure, we make it stop, because it gives a better chance for the player to, what happened? Okay, what should I do? Or stuff like that. But yeah, he's not completely safe at all.
Something I like is the way the helmet is done, and when you can see that when the character breathes, there's the trace on the helmet, and you can hear also the heavy breathing every time that you're in danger. Your oxygen level and supplies they go down very fast. And what I also like is that you said that you need to check the oxygen level and you need to check the thrust level when you use the thruster. But in some cases, when the reflections are easy to see, because the place is very dark. I mean, you can use the reflections to actually know, how much thrust is left and how much. Well, oxygen is a bit more difficult, but you get used to it. Like you can see it's 21%, 50%. So 51, no, it's not that easy. Yeah, 50. Well, yeah, actually, I failed. That's a big fail. But anyway, I think it's a good idea.
Also, just one small thing. It seems like the stream is not very smooth. It's not the game. The game runs at perfect 60 FPS, but we didn't have time to set up everything as we usually do. So yeah, it doesn't seem like the video is at 60 FPS.
Yeah, it is. It's one thing I should say. I mean, the game runs in Unity engine, if I'm not mistaken, and it's been a perfectly smooth experience from beginning to end for me, at least. So sure, yeah, the 1080, the GTX 1080 is probably a good way to play games, correctly, but it's not always the case, even with AAA games. And Unity games sometimes can be, a bit difficult. Yeah, and this one is just well, as far as I can tell,
Well,
it's perfect.
At the single moment we decided there is a point where we were making the game and we saw all the Oculus coming, the DK1, we tried with DK1 and then DK2. And from that moment we tried to make a VR experience which will not make people ill. Because that was a huge deal. It still is a huge deal. So we really try to. One of the things we absolutely needed to make was a good frame rate, because if we don't have a good frame rate in virtual reality, it's horrible.
You're right.
Everyone is ill, or it just doesn't work. We tried some other thing, having some black on the side when you move around in virtual reality, or the fact that you rotate at some given angle. Everything in order for player to be comfortable with the virtual reality experience. The fact that the frame rate is high is because it was really a point in development. We couldn't have it any other way.
Well, I haven't tried the game in VR because basically I don't own any VR headset, and the reason is, well, first, it's expensive. Two, I probably would throw up all the time, so that's not something I'm ready to spend money on if it's to be sick. And maybe I wouldn't be sick with Narcosis. But the thing is, I want to say is, even though I don't have a VR headset, this has been really nice to play just normally, like old school style with a TV screen. And it works very, 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 very well.
A good TV screen, dare I say.
An incredibly good TV screen, yes.
Myself, there is some key members which try to which try different which try really heavily the VR headset. Myself, I was more trying to make the event or correct bug, especially at the end of the development for the normal screen. So we really try to have the game looks good for both sides anyway. For a moment we were afraid that a lot of people would not know that the game is can be perfectly played in a regular screen. But it's all right. People seem to understand that VR is only an option for Narcosis.
Yeah, that's what I probably thought first, and then checked, of course, the information about the game, and found out that yes, it could be played normally, and it was even intended normally originally. That was the idea before VR came into actually came to mind. And so I actually loaded a later chapter to show you. You saw the beginning, and basically there's nothing supernatural about the game. There's a bit of madness involved because, of course, the main character is not going to stay sane all the time. So there are sequences where things seem a bit strange, or go a little crazy, and as you progress into the game, it'll get crazier and crazier sometimes, but not all the time. Like you have a sequence where, okay, things are not normal, and you need to find a way to get out of that cycle, I would say. And so this is a bit later. So you're in the station, you're back inside, but contrary to a game like Soma, it's flooded everywhere. So there are people your colleagues that you find who die, and I can't show you, but there's a screen in the option menu where you have all the list of your colleagues, and every time you find one who's dead, it becomes gray, and then you need to know, okay, well, who is there anyone left alive on the station? Because apparently we know what happened. There's an earthquake. And that's, like I said, really grounded in reality. It's the future part is that there are people working deep underwater in suits that don't exist today, But other than that, it's not science fiction at all. And this I like too.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, the idea of the base was around the methane hydrate carburant. So the methane is something we know which exists. We actually try to find a reason people would want to build a base on the that low under the sea, on the bottom of the sea, and we know that there is a lot of methane hydrate, which is some kind of gas we can use for energy, because we can only guess that the energy crisis will go worse as years go, as years advance in reality. So the basic idea is really to take something grounded in reality, and and no catastrophe, having the horror coming from a catastrophe, which seems plausible, which is why we also try to like all this environment, all those objects, we try to if real people were here, maybe we will put the pen here or not here, or the book here or not here. There is a lot of stuff going on on the table of the base, or stuff like that.
And you can almost read everything, like here, like that that sheet of paper. You could almost read what's written. It's not all blurry, and it's and there's the Doom 3 vibe. When you can actually interact with some of the screens like that. And also enjoyed it. Reminded me of my younger years, I have to say.
Yeah. It was inspired by Doom 3, totally. And we actually at the beginning we even wanted to have some computer with a lot more going on. Like you could go to folders, stuff like that, maybe. But at some point we thought that we don't have lot to do for that idea, so we scrapped it.
How big is the team exactly? Because you have an American author, but so you're part French and American.
The core team, as we could say, there is me, there is because I always see it, but the sound.
Yeah, I know. There's a poster with the team, right?
I'm counting. I'm just counting right now. Yes, there is eight people on a little more, because on the graphic side we have taken more people at some point in order to help us, and then we stopped at the end of the project when all which was left was bugs. So we are a little less than 8 as I count people.
So see a very atmospheric moment, and it's like packed with those, and I like the way you animated the sea creatures, because it actually feels like it's a sea creature and that we are underwater. And it's creepy as hell too. That something I wouldn't want to see if I wouldn't be underwater personally, because I think I would freak out. But to see that, even though you're in a like incredibly resistant suit, it's strange. And you see that former friend of yours apparently taking a break from working out, but probably not in very good shape at the moment. And that's the first part of the game, which is more linear, where you basically you see that the door can be open, so you just go through the door, and you can explore some of the rooms sometimes just for fun. And there are a few funny things to see. Like I could see that you added a lot of posters from a bunch of independent games. Like Mother Russia Bleeds, for example.
We are fun with we are fun with them. We try to put some stuff like that, but not too much, of course.
No.
It's
where it makes sense, basically, which means in the crew's quarters, because that's where they would put the things they care about, and so the pictures and everything, all the different all this, you get close and you can see very well. I really enjoyed that. I mean, all the details. It's just that the suit doesn't allow always to look down because, well, you're in a suit, so that makes sense. So sometimes you're like, I would like to see what's I would like to see my feet, but I can't because I'm too fat.
Yes, that's basically. And in the room, well, for this month in particular, we really try to, here you are at the room of some guy, and what you can see here really define what this guy is. We try to, we don't see the person very long for most of them. So, we try to really give an idea of who they are. From where they were, or the little description you have where you found them. The whole idea of having them, we call that a relic. It's not really, it's more a personal object that every one of them, which define every one of them, which unlock a text about them, or some reflection about them. The whole idea is really there is no dead there is no unnamed people dead. It's always something which unsettles me when I see some people dead and I don't know but who are you?
No, they all have a backstory, and if you find the they're like the personal objects they have, which are collectibles, you can learn more about them. But every time you find a body or you find someone, you learn things, and you can go check in the proper tab where everything is listed. And some things like there's environmental storytelling here. So, for example, that note here, please wake me up, and many things like that. And well, probably you can't hear that now, but maybe if Blim turns the volume up, you'll hear.
Sure.
There's something going on that's not right.
Yeah.
Because there's a phone ringing, and there's not supposed to be a phone ringing when you're underwater and everything has gone haywire. So that also is a bit reminiscent of the Japanese horror games that you mentioned maybe before. And when you reach the phone, there's that's not normal either, I guess. Things are not floating around, and you turn around and you see that.
Yeah, so not funny.
You wouldn't actually be scared of that sequence. And this is what I liked. So you start to move around again, and then you're back in the very first room you entered. And if I hadn't entered this room, I would be back in the other room I would have chosen, which I think is pretty cool too. And now I'm going to show you the team if I can find the right room.
We've got,
I think it's this one.
A couple minutes left.
Yeah. So I think the team probably has no, that's not the one. That's Republic. No. So
just to address the elephant in the room, you said that you were a big fan of Amnesia, and it was a big influence for you guys. What did you think when you saw Soma?
It was a complicated feeling because actually there is even that stuff where the Soma first trailer was actually a screen which say we can't reach the surface, and the camera slowly go away from that screen and show the environment, the aquatic environment. That was exactly the idea we had for our trailer, which was for our student project at the time. So yes, when we saw Soma, so from the guy we taken some inspiration from, because it's a first-person horror game, mainly for that. And yes, it was very complicated. Oh no, we are over. We are finished. They will launch Soma. No Narcosis will always be what came after Soma. They've taken everything from Soma. But what do you do? I think the two games are still quite different, to be honest.
They are.
They have done something else entirely, which is good for us, because they are very, very talented people. And it's
So that's
team.
you guys. Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
the writer is the one on the right, the second from the right is the writer, isn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
And he's an
Yeah,
American,
exactly.
and it's pretty good. I mean, the story I found was, like I said, the final twist. I don't know. Maybe it got me, and it won't
Yeah.
get everyone, but it got me, and I found it was pretty cool.
There is no twist. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, maybe it's best saying there's no twist, because then people expect one, and then they try to look for one, and then maybe they find out. Like for Westworld, where people on Reddit actually found everything. But I don't think that's a risk you run. You probably won't have like crazy theories. People will just play the game and find out, and that's what's cool.
Well, you don't have to wait a week to
Yeah, they don't
see
have to
what
wait a
happens
week. That's
next,
true.
though. Yeah.
And one thing I want to say too is that even if they, even if they know that, the game still has some secret. I think you didn't.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, sure.
There is some stuff to discover, which is a little more hidden than what the main game talk about. Oh, you will not have any oxygen. There is one in the ground.
Oh yeah, it's true. I died, so I can fail, and we can stop
Yeah.
the English
we
stream
like
on
to
the
finish our lives with
fail. It's like
So
it's signature.
perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. Well, actually, yeah, that's what happens. And the thing is, yeah, there are no sometimes there are checkpoints at
Yes.
important moments, but here, well, I didn't do much actually. I'm not far from the beginning of that chapter, but because you take your time, and then you don't have to redo everything, which means if you found collectibles, you don't have to find them again. If you found bodies, you don't have to look at them, and then they're, it's not like you're going to lose as much time because you died. I mean, you just go straight where you were, which I could do right now, and that's okay. But yeah, be careful with that, because when you don't pay attention to and I found that oxygen is, the supplies maybe a bit too much sometimes, because you think, okay, I found one just 30 seconds ago, and I still have a lot, and I even when sometimes you do come back, because there's you need to do things, and you need to there's not backtracking really, but you're in a place and you need to find 2 different places to unlock to bring the shuttle, for example, at some point. And so you have to, you will actually come back in some areas, and then say, okay, I didn't use the oxygen first, so maybe now it's the time to do it. But sometimes, I maybe found that there were too many supplies, but at the same time, it probably will be less frustrating for a lot of people.
The idea behind the oxygen is to put a lot of pressure to the player, but we don't actually want to frustrate the player.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was it's something which was that having a little too much oxygen would still be better to having a little not
so it wasn't dark.
I don't have the word.
And the thing,
So,
and the thing is, like I said, and that's where we'll stop, is the first part of the game is more linear, where you have corridors and open doors, and then you need to unlock the door, one door, so you need to find where to go, which is basically easy because you follow the open doors, and then you find that place where you can unlock the other one. But then it's at the middle of the game, you have that place where you're basically free to go wherever you want, and that's feel a bit lost, just like the main character. And this is why I said it can be a bit frustrating, because suddenly you're like, okay, what should I do? And there are spider crabs everywhere, and I remind you that they can kill you in just one attack. So I died a lot, but the thing is, when you understand what to do, which is find the way out, even if you're out somehow. It's not that difficult, because you have a compass helping you, and when you understood where to go, you can follow your compass. And then the only problem being that it's not a flat area, so you need to find where you can go, because even if you have thrusters, you cannot climb. Well, it's not mountains, but you can't climb. So it's a bit different. And from that moment on, it's not big areas, but it's like you have to do more gamey things, like find a way to get to the access card and do some platforming. and some like the crazy sequences I was talking about that we saw, which become a bit less linear because you had to find crack a code, for example. It's not difficult, but it's something you have to observe and explore the environment. Or sometimes you need to find the exit because yes, sometimes you're like in a loop and you need to find a way to break the loop. And it's just it's there's variety actually, and it's not just a walking simulator where you from beginning to end you simply just move forward and the story's told and that's all you do, and that's really something that I wanted to stress.
Well, thank you. The idea was at the very beginning, the guy you control actually, there is a catastrophe, but there is still, they know what to do, they know they have to return to the base, they know they have to contact communications, so it's a very linear path, so somehow, because you don't have any hesitation about what you do. But as you progress in the game and stuff become more difficult, there's a lot of stuff which happen that I won't spoil, which means that it will be harder than anticipated. We wanted to really bring the sense of, okay, I'm lost. Okay, maybe I won't be, I won't survive after all. Maybe not. Maybe I will. So the whole idea was also in the level design by making it more and more open. At the beginning, it's just some door you can go on to have some. Optional stuff, and then it's a more open place to explore, and then there is an even bigger place to explore, and then you have to come back, so it's linear. So the idea, the level design is actually reminiscent of what we wanted the player to feel and to be in the same at the same place as the guy is controlling.
Okay, so it's out on PC now. It will be on Xbox One in mid-April, if I got that right. No plans now for other platforms, but who knows if I also understood that right. Do you believe that such a small team as yours can maybe think of a PS4 version since there's the PSVR? Or?
Yeah, PS4. It will really depend if the game works. Actually, we didn't have the means to make a PS4 version at the moment. We found someone for the Xbox version, which is really great. But if we can do it, we will do it.
Okay, great. And then last thing I want to say is
but for now we can't say it will happen. Yeah. Unfortunately, I just wanted to precise that we can't say.
Yeah. So basically, if you own a PS4, buy the game on PC, even if you can't play it, so that the success actually makes it happen on PS4. And that could work. And then one last thing I want to say is voice acting is really solid. It's really good, and for a game like that, that's important. And in an independent game, it's not always the case. Sometimes the voice acting can be a bit, disappointing, and it really works. I mean, the guy who does most of the talking in the game is really involved, and the other people you hear also. I mean, they do a good job, and that's again one of the game's strength, I would say, because the story is what keeps you going too, and for me at least, it's worth it. So just check it out, try and let us know if you liked it, and if you did, maybe spread the word so that people know that there's Narcosis and there's not just Mass Effect Andromeda and all the big AAA games out this month. There are more, and we actually have more even independent or sort of independent games to cover in the weeks to come, and it's great.
Yeah, more lives coming soon.
Yeah, and probably this week, like many lives coming, if I can do it, because we actually have a few more games to show, and so I'll tell you Blim later. But yeah, we should.
Awesome.
yeah, it's gonna be like a long week.
Oh, great!
So thank you, Damien, very much for joining us in English.
Thanks for you.
And well, hope to actually see more of your work in the years to come now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Also,
See ya.
see you.